Will this be great? Will this be good? Will this make a bit of sense to anyone except those of you listeners who have been with us since the beginning? And when I say since the beginning, I'm talking 7 years ago when you and I discovered that human freedom would indeed be the be-all, end-all of our current experience. And as the media, both online and the legacy media, serves to divide us, and you didn't go for the ride then, you didn't go on the ride back in 2015, you didn't go on the ride in 2020, and then here you are within the friendly confines of reality in the year 2021, and you're watching the folks who have been 100% brainwashed by the legacy media and those divisive media resources, which are only there to provide opportunities for you to divide your reality, your here and your now. And as you listen to me, our here and our now. And if you choose to go along those lines of division, well, then you may find yourself in a beginning of point, which what? Has no beginning point in the semblance of reality. If you understand reality, you understand artificial reality, virtual reality, then you will know that the AI and the computers will create a simulation that at some point you will not be able to discern whether or not you are within the artificial reality or whether or not you are within 0 point reality, point of being, actual reality. And so here we are, way in advance, years, decades, centuries before you need to make that very choice. And what has changed? Again, in the simplicity of what is, you're here in the here, and you're here in the now. And what exists in the here and the now is the completeness of that experience. Talking to you right now from the bay of Nuevo Vallarta. Off to the left of me, I can see at least 100 boats moored off in the marina, jet skis raging through the inlet of the bay itself leading its way to the Pacific Ocean, and then way, way, way off in the distance, the mountains here in Mexico, some in the forefront, some mountains behind the mountains, some mountains obscured by clouds far off into the mountains. For those of us here, if you're listening now and you've actually engaged in artificial reality, you know that the experience that you're having, be it as real as the computer can make it, is extremely limited. So as I'm sitting here, sitting on top of a hot tub, on a porch, with the view of the inlet, with the view of the bay, with the view of the third largest bay in the history of people who could actually define how large water sources are, that's what we're experiencing. And if you were in a virtual or an artificial reality situation, then the reality that I'm experiencing right now in my 3D simulation is as real as you would be experiencing. I do still have the free will to leave this building, to walk on down to the point, to charter a boat and head on to the ocean, to charter a driver and head on into the hills, to get a guide to take me to the top of the mountains and live amongst the clouds. And what would you find even there? You'd find the here, and you would find the now. So instead of getting lost in the situation of, is your actual reality as full as it is in its realness as the coming reality, which is artificial reality and virtual and virtuous reality. Isn't it funny how the onslaught and the oncoming of virtue signaling is here to dull your senses? To dull your senses of how real this all is. Did you take an art class? And yeah, sure, I could look at the mountains in my view from 100% of my vision, from all the way to the right, all the way to the left. Could I draw those mountains with a pencil? Absolutely. Could I draw the mountains behind them? Absolutely. Could I make them 100% real as I can see them now in the reality of which I'm living? Yes, 100%. Okay then, well, what if you click dragged and sent your reality on top of the highest mountain that you could see? How would things change? Well, then you would need to have that experience. Here's the issue in regards to artificial reality and virtual reality. They can give you the opportunity to experience there as here. But if you never get the lesson of here, then you'll never see there. I know it sounds dumb, but in the reality of all of this, it's fullness. Can you hear the wind blowing? Can you hear the frigates, the birds? Can you hear the sparrows chirping? Can you hear the waves crashing on the ocean? And what do you do with the fullness of that experience except accept it 100% with 100% of your being? If you thought about it, what it was like back when humans barely could travel, where a human being who is 30 miles away would only look at these mountains, would only look at these hills as one day I will then cross. But they never did because they didn't have the opportunity. And here you are with the opportunity to virtually travel with a click of the mouse from here to there. And the question is, when you arrive there, did you bring the here with you? Did you bring gratitude with you? Did you bring love and opportunity and acceptance with you? Did you choose to bring the limitations of the program that sent you? Or did you know that beginning, and every beginning has to have an ending? And once that you know that every beginning has to have an ending, and that from the beginning to the ending is the entirety, and much like you would fill a glass of reality, you would fill a glass full of reality, a glass so full of reality that you would not doubt whether or not your glass was full or not. So whether or not you're sitting here with me right now on top of a hot tub with a view 30 miles away across 3 different mountain ranges, what would your life be like then as you looked back upon where you were and nothing would have changed? Because you still would have the opportunity to be present, to be here, to be now, and to be thankful. And it's in those absurd conversations, in those absurd philosophical conversations, where it's easy to implode the divisive narratives of us against them, of here against there, them against us versus me, when you realize that you, the I, the me, the our, the us, is equal to the here. I want you to close your eyes right now and take a deep breath, as deep as your lungs will allow. Are your lungs full? Could they be fuller? Well then, choose to allow them to be fuller. And then at the peak capacity of those lungs, in that experience of the breath that is possible inside of reality, look around. And it's no different than the life you would be experiencing if someone was choking you to death. Because your life, whether it's 100% full or in the final 0.0001% of possibility is as equal to what's always been. We talk about disrupting the illusion, breaking the illusion, destroying the illusion, disrupting the illusion. And it's a goof. And it's always been a goof. Because whether or not the view of your life is a cubicle in the job that you've chosen, a wall in the apartment that you've chosen, the backyard fence in the house that you've chosen, the bay from the vacation view that you've chosen to take, or the mountains that you may never ever go to, whether it is your current opportunity, a potential opportunity, or a never potential opportunity, that opportunity in itself is 100%. Zero opportunity is equal to 100% opportunity in its fullness. And to spend your life in doubt, to spend your life in wondering, to spend your life thinking that somewhere there, somewhere else, somewhere different will be better, will be more complete, will be more full than the opportunity that you have now, is nothing but a fool's errand. And if hardcore taught us one thing, it's that fools die. And so don't be a fool in your situation. Whether or not you're staring at the wall of a cubicle, the fence in your backyard, or the mountain paradise of the greatest vacation that you've ever been a part of, therein line occupies 100% of the confines of your experience. Close your eyes. If you close your eyes and in the darkness you are still able to envision the wall and the cubicle in front of you, with your closed eyes you could see the fence and the house that you bought in front of you. With your same closed eyes you could see the mountains and the mountains and the mountains and the mountains beyond those that you would never go. Is that any difference in the fullness of the experience? No. But our minds will always give you the opportunity to take a trip, to take a place where you can trade your now, when you can trade your here for a there and a then. A there and a then that is as big and as real as your mind allows you to accept now. It's so easy, folks, in this place. Whether you're in a foundational zero reality level, if you're living in virtual reality, or if you're living in an artificial reality, it's very, 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 very simple and very easy to take your mind and send it off into the what if of the distance. Especially now when we have opportunities to work, opportunities to grow, opportunities to sacrifice, opportunities to give that are right in front of us. And instead of doing that simple work that's right in front of us, we do the more complex work of projecting our reality to a place that is not here. Oh, when I get there, then I'll blank. And you won't. Because your there will always be the same as your here. No matter where you move, you will always find yourself. No matter where you go, you will always find yourself. No matter where you go in the timeline of you, past, present, and future, you will always find yourself in the here and now, in the fullness that you've always been. And perhaps you're listening to me right now and you've not yet experienced the fact that there will be virtual realities, artificial or alternative realities, and you've not yet had that opportunity to make that choice, to forego your reality, to take your reality in the future. And what will you do when you get there? Well, my friends, that's going to be your choice to make. But if you know the game for what it is, if you know the gimmick, for what it is. And the nature of reality will always give you a little bit of wink and a little bit of nod along the way. The wind will always blow as hard as the wind blows. The temperature will always be what the temperature is. The waves will always be as big as the waves are. The birds, and it doesn't matter that you know what that bird is, what you think that bird is, what you think that bird is doing, what you think that bird is attempting to accomplish. They have two settings. They're flapping or they're floating. And it would be very, very easy with your humanness to say, well, every bird that flaps is doing flapping because birds that flap mean this. And birds that are floating in a circle float in a circle because birds in a floater mean this. And you wouldn't know. Because you're in a words-based reality. And the word bird does not mean bird. And the word tree does not mean tree. And the word wind does not mean wind. And the word wave does not mean wave. Which is your opportunity. If you really wanted to break this reality as big as you could break it wide open, past our words-based reality and take it to a mathematical level, then you would only consider length, width, depth, fullness, and completion, beginning and ending. And then at that point, with that simplistic view of reality, then you could determine from reality to artificial reality to virtual reality to not real at all would be explained in the fullness of the definitions of mathematics that was brought with you. If you're still listening to this, this is the best weed you've ever smoked. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe you've had better, or maybe now I've just snapped you back into the reality of realizing that the very, very breath in your body is a gift, that the very, very present of your reality is a gift, that the 0 point living situation here in 100% zero generational reality is as real and is as present as artificial reality, is as virtual reality, or anything that may be created along the way. And don't get caught up in the divisive nature of language, be it the language of communities, the language of countries, the language of nations, the languages of control, but take all of this to the simple fullness of beginning and ending and the here and now. 100% complete or empty. And the simple fact that you've sat here with me with the wind blowing through the speaker, that you can hear the air condition working off in the distance, means that there's been a payoff this entire time. And the simple payoff is to not get fooled. It's a fool's errand to spend your time, whether you're in 100% reality, the virtual reality, or artificial reality, to doubt. Do not doubt any of it. Do not deride any of it. Do not divide any of it. We are in an infinite, eternal, expressive existence of reality looking upon itself, and we view reality through the smiles that we present to the horizon. And your horizon may be that point 30 miles from here. Your horizon may be that cubicle wall. Your horizon may be the fence in your backyard. The very, very confines of your reality do not define you. What defines you is your ability to be present, to find the wind, to listen to the wind, to listen to the birds sing, to listen to reality in its cacophony, in its symphonic expression, and to literally and actually and physically be the universe experiencing itself. God is real. God is great. You are part of God. You are great. And if you know those very, very simple precepts, then you'll never get caught up in the lie. The devil's lie of division, the devil's lie of lack, the devil's lie of scarcity, and the devil's lie of us versus them. It's a Sunday. God bless all of you. Say an Our Father. Say a Hail Mary. Say a Glory Be. And remember, when we talk about the Our Father pretty much gives it away. It's the first line. Our. Oh, we're all in this together? We're in our Father, not part of ours, but where we've always been. Oh, you are the Father? You're not? Oh, you are our, because you've always been part of us. And if you're still listening and you're still here, and you're still part of us, and you've never left, and regardless of the ideas as your mind has wandered, maybe you had some tequila, maybe you had some DMT, you had some weed, you had some caffeine, you had the Holy Spirit raging in your simulation, both a 0-1 reality to virtual, to artificial, to non-reality. Regardless of where you find yourself in that situation, you are as present as your definition of present. So let the air conditioner work as hard as the air conditioner works. You have nothing to do with it. Let the wind work as hard as the wind works. You have nothing to do with it. Let the waves work as hard as the waves work. You have nothing to do with it other than experience it. And you realize that all of these things outside of your control are there for you to experience. Then your choice is to choose not to limit your experience through words that give you outlets to divide you from the 100% here and the 100% now and the 100% opportunity that the Holy Spirit gives us through the commonality of breath that allows us to smile and dial in the simulation. I'm going to check in more as we engage in this paradise here in Mexico. And those of you who are looking for Denver's top iconic rock, well, we may just find some rock along the way. And if you were looking for that today, well, then you didn't get any. And then you realize, isn't the rock that you love nothing but time, tempo, and rhythm? Isn't the beachfront that you love nothing but time, tempo, and rhythm? Isn't your art career nothing more than time, tempo, and rhythm? And that's simplicity. God bless.